Welcome to the Cranberry Merchants production studio. This is actually a room in our basement that we do a lot of our production photography. We do a lot of our stills here. We did a little bit of video for Going Nowhere, if you remember the segments with the maps. And this is, now for this video, it's our movie studio. Here's the movie set. There are a lot of different set pieces, hundreds of different parts, a cast of dozens. Let's see how it all was put together. So like with our other music videos, we resorted to using our iPhones, which works out pretty well as always. Although this was the first experience that we've ever had with stop motion animation. Stop motion animation is a really cool process to use, but it is painstaking. It takes a pretty long process of where you have to take a succession of still photos and you kind of inch the characters along a little bit at a time. You string everything together into a big sequence to create the illusion of motion. And we finally got to make use of our pretty large Lego collection. It's not huge, but it's a pretty good bit to work with. So Diane had quite a bit at her disposal to make all the set pieces and make all the characters that she wanted to run around the neighborhood. Check this out. Video pre-production actually started about 2 or 3 weeks ahead of time. Had to get all the sets and set pieces built. That takes a lot of time and a lot of creativity. Let's see how it was all put together.
Here's where most of the filming for Disturbing the Peace was done. This is the neighborhood here, and the lighting you can see was just an overhead light and this desk lamp. Here's Jeff's house here that we started out with. And then here are the Cranberry Merchants next door. I have to put the mailbox back. And some of the vehicles that were used in the filming. Now we go across the table here. Here's the interior of our house. Here's the main living room. And then over here is the kitchen that we used very briefly in one of the shots. When thinking about the other sets that we needed for Disturbing the Peace, we decided to build kind of like a little main street so that the other characters in the story would have a place to leave from as they headed over to our party. One of these was the public library, which is kind of an inside joke because that's where the band, the Badass Female Librarians, takes off from. There's also a gas station. Of course, we had to have a toy store in there. There's a burger joint where our alien Cletus takes the giant burger sign with him over to the party. There's an ice cream parlor, which is actually only an interior. There's a clothing store. And of course, there's the police station and the jail that is supposed to be the inside of that. Two more of the interior type sets that we built were, of course, the bedroom, where the Cowboy Joe character first goes to sleep and also where he makes his angry phone calls from. And then one interior that didn't really get seen too much is the inside of the police station, where you see the cop dispatcher calling to get the other squads over there. I had originally planned to use this room to lengthen the scenes of Jeff, Jacob, and Harry being taken to jail, but I ran short on time, so I had to find a quicker way to tell that part of the story.
Now let's take a look at the technical side of things. Like, what is this?
The app that I use to do this animation is this one here. It's called Stop Motion. And it's actually very easy. These are all the individual little films. Most of them are only like between maybe 2 and 10 seconds long, and they can be edited right in the app. When you open one of these up, you get a timeline here at the bottom where you can see the individual photos of what you're doing. This was a very simple one where I was able to just kind of alternate 2 different pictures, but it lets you just kind of drag and drop and copy and paste one frame to the next, and then when it's sped up, you have the motion that it sets up for you. But some of these, of course, were more complicated scenes where you couldn't just repeat it, where people were walking or doing a particular action, like this one where Jeff is banging at the door and our character Drew Jarvie comes out to see who's knocking and knocks him back with the door. Kind of looks around, doesn't see anybody there, takes a quick swig of his drink, and turns around, goes back inside, back into the party. In lieu of an actual tripod, since it's hard to get that to stay still on a set, and me also having to keep the camera horizontal, I built this little contraption out of Lego where my phone can fit in there. Still gives room for the lens, but I can also tilt shots into the scenes. It's easy to move around. Also acts as a platform to get higher angles. And then this piece can also come off of here, where I can use it for lower angles. And then I've also got a little bit lower platform for in-between shots.
2 of the voices that you hear are Diane and I, but for a production of this magnitude, we needed some help. So who's this little guy?
Hey, this is Jeff Rickett with CowboyJoeRadio.com. Just doing a little behind the scenes of how I got involved in the Disturbing the Peace video and also the song. So really, I was just sitting here one day and bam, Steve from the Cranberry Merchants sends me a message and asks me if I want to be in the song. And I'm like, hey, sure, we need another voice. So he says, we just pretty much need you to be the next door neighbor and you're screaming things because we're making too much noise. We're disturbing the peace is the name of the song. So I was like, okay. So I'm sitting here in my home studio screaming profanities and screaming, I'm going to call the cops. I'm calling the police. You're disturbing the peace. You're too noisy. It's crap. You know, whatever. I'm just yelling into the microphone and I couldn't really get the complete projection that I wanted to get. So what I ended up doing is when I drove to work the next day and I brought my handheld microphone and I actually screamed it in my car all by myself. And that is, I think, what you finally hear on the song. And then I did the tracks for the video, the extra tracks here in my home studio. So way to go, Steve and Diane, with the song, and an awesome job by Diane on the video. And I'm humbled, I appreciate it, and I thank you so much for letting me be involved in the song and the video for Disturbing the Peace.
And who is this voice?
Hey, relax, man. Yeah.
Our resident troublemaker is no one else but Jacob Brina from Indie Butterfly's Dream.
And once again, we took all of the little animated clips over into Power Director and put them with the different sound clips that we had and the music. Stitched it all together over there, added special effects, and there it was.
Disturbing the Peace is not even 3 minutes long, so for the video, we kind of had to pad out the story a little bit up front and at the back. But even at that, there were still some clips that we didn't get to use. We shot so many, so here's some outtakes. We filmed several clips just to make ourselves laugh, and They didn't all make the cut, but what do you expect with a crew like this, huh? You want to have a look? What is a cartoon without a chase scene, eh? And here is our cast of characters, starring The video moves pretty fast, so you may need to watch it multiple times just to catch everything. Hope you enjoy watching it as much as we did making it. See ya.